Hello, I'd like to make this card with you today, and I'm going to use the new Stamparatus for all the pieces. Let me show you what you'll need. You'll need the Layered Leaves Dynamic Textured Folder. That's the big thick one from Stampin' Up! In the regular catalog. And then I used lots of lavender. This is a Sale-a-Bration item which is only available until March 31st. So if you like this set, I suggest you get it. And then instead of this sentiment, which was rather big, I'm going to use the thank you from Thoughtful Banners, which is also in the regular catalog. So these two are available, and this one ends March 31st, and it's a free gift with a $50 purchase. So if you spend $50 in the regular catalog or in the occasions catalog, which is good until May 31st, but the Sale-a-Brations only goes till the 31st of March, so you can only earn the free items until then. But anyway, let's get started. And what you will need for this, I'll put this over here, is a piece of cardstock, and I did this a little different, okay? And I've already done the embossing just to save a little time. Instead of doing it that fold, we're going to do it a 10th fold. So you will need to cut your paper in half. This is a regular 8.5 by 11 piece of paper, so you're going to cut at 4 1/4 by 11.5. And you're going to score at 5.5. Then you will need a little piece of scrap, and these are very vanilla cardstock. And then I'm going to use Pear Pizzazz, and this measures, oh my goodness, I can't believe I've forgotten already. Sorry. It measures 2 7/8 by 4 1/8. I will have all the measurements on my blog, on my website. That's Pear Pizzazz. The Very Vanilla measures 4, should be by 2 3/4. No, 2 3/4. Then you'll need a piece of ribbon about 8 3/4 long, and another piece of ribbon for the bow about 9 inches long. And I used a punch, which is in the regular catalog, for the sentiment on here. Let's see what else. And I think that's about it. So let's get started, and we're going to use this stuff right now. So we'll set this stuff aside. And I'm going to use the new Stamparatus, and I have it all set up. So I will bring that in. Yeah. Which way do I want it? That way. Yes, that way. Right. And I'll take what I did was I marked on here where my paper's going. I put a piece of grid paper on here. And because we're using the photopolymer stamps, we have to use the little mat that comes with it. If you didn't need to use the mat, you could use that grid right there. But I just put a piece of grid paper on here, and I'm going to line up my paper where I want it and put my magnet on. And then we are going to take, let's take this plate first. I have my stamps on both sides. It's brilliant. You can use all 4 doors. So I'm going to use the base one first. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to stamp it with a stamping spot. I've gotten all these out of my paper pumpkins, and I saved them in a Ferrero Rocher chocolate box. Yes, the plus side is you get to eat the chocolates and save the box for your stamps. And it reminds me of a game when I was a child, you know, those little tiny blocks that you had to move around to get to the exit. It's easier to move your stamps around rather than trying to pick them out when it's full. If it's not full, you're okay. But that's how I store my stamping spots, and it holds 2 layers. So, all right. Off subject here, but okay. So I'm going to use a stamping spot to ink up my my first piece, which is the background. And I'm doing it in Soft Sky. So you just place it down and hold it there for a minute. And then pick it up. There we go. Now for my second one, I'm going to put my thing up here. And for that, I used a full-size ink pad, and I'm using Wisteria Wonder. Wisteria Wonder, which is a lighter purple. It looks dark here, but it's not. And we'll stamp that up good. And place it down. Just give it a little rub and make sure it's getting in all the areas you want it. And pick it up. Alright, so that's that. So now we could do the leaves. So what you do is you just take your hinges off and you turn it around. I've already lined my leaves up where I want them to go. And you put your hinges back in. Yep. And for my leaves, let me close this up, sorry. I'll probably need it again, but for right now, we'll just close it up. For my leaves, I'm using Pear Pizzazz, and I'm using the ink spot again. And for the stem as well, I have the stem on here, which is here, and these leaves and these leaves. So just get lots of ink on that. Got a piece of thread. That's the problem with linen stamps. I love them, but the thread comes off the edge. And then you just place it down and hold. Make sure you get all the leaves where they need to go. And that's that. I'm done with that. So you can turn your things around, and if you had a bigger piece of paper, you could really put a lot of stamps on that. So then I'm going to turn this one around for my bow. And I did my bow in Sweet Sugar Plum. Love this color. That. And there we go. Oops, that was a little bit off. I don't know what I did there. But anyway, this one's okay. I did not set that one up correctly. Oh well, can't change it now. It's on there. And that is it for the Stamparatus. But it is a brilliant tool. If you had a card that you want to put words all the way down your page, you could move your, you put your first layer up here, your first stamp, and you stamp it, pick up your hinge, put it in the next one, stamp it, pick up your hinge. There's so much you can do with this Stamparatus. It's an absolutely brilliant invention. The people that worked on this were amazing. Oh, actually, I do want to, I'll take my little thing off. I am going to, while I have this here, I'm going to stamp my little sentiment. Let's see where you're going to end up. Oops, wrong side. I had it on the wrong side. Yeah, right about there. You'll be good. Okay. So I'm going to do the sentiment in this as well. We'll take that off too. As I haven't cleaned the ink off, I might get a blemish of ink on here. So just stamp it up with your Sweet Sugar Plum. It doesn't matter if you're getting it straight because you're going to cut it anyway. You're going to cut it down. Or you're going to punch it out. So there's that. Now let's put the Stamparatus aside. And all my inks right now. Okay, take your punch and punch out to your thank you. There we go. Put that aside. And what I'll do is I will sponge the edges of that in Sweet Sugar Plum. Just grab a little bit on the edge of my sponge. And just to add a little bit of color, because it'll be against the very vanilla. There. So that is ready to go on too. Okay. Now if you want for this, what I did was when you are stamping up ink pads, if you push on here, it gives you a little ink well to work with, like here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my Wink of Stella, but you make sure and you clean this off after you're done, because this, you don't want it to get into your ink pad. So I'm going to use my Ink of Stella and a little bit of darker and coloring my flowers just a tad. You don't even have to do it everywhere if you don't want to, but I'm gonna just fill them all in, and it'll be lighter and darker. And you just keep going like that. I'm not going to do the whole thing, but you get the idea, and that is how that works. Then you take your brush and clean it off before you put it back in. And we'll clean this off with a baby wipe. Just wipe it all up clean. That way you don't contaminate your ink pad when you're using your ink pad. There we go. So now we'll take our yeah, I started on that side trying to set it up. I didn't go far enough and do the bow correctly though, huh? Where is my, there it is. I'm going to use Fast Fuse. You don't have to. You could use liquid glue. You could use just regular adhesive. Whatever you like, you go ahead and use. This just happened to be handy. So, and you center it on your Pear Pizzazz. There we go. And then, like I said, I already ran this through the embossing folder with the Layered Leaves dynamic folder. And I think it's a beautiful, can you see how the dimension on this? It's absolutely pretty. Straighten up my mat. We'll take our ribbon. Let's see if I can find the shorter one. One of them is shorter, not that it matters. Yep, this one. And I'm going to put it around the top of my card on this one instead. And I will use a little bit of Fast Fuse here, just to hook it there. And there. And we'll take this and we'll put it on here in the center. You could put on dimensions if you want, dimensionals. but your card is actually thick enough without putting it on dimensionals. So I would just leave it because the bow is going to be thick. And let's put that on here. I'm going to put it closer to the bottom because my bow is going to be at the top. And you take your bow, you can tie a bow anyhow you like, any way you like. I'm going to use my little pegboard and dowel. Pop that through there and put it over. And just pull. There we go. And to attach my bow, I'm going to just use glue dots. So, a glue dot. Where is my little thingy? Oh well, I guess I'm just going to have to use my nails. I'll put that in the middle. Oh, can you see? And then take another one and put it on the back of your bow. And attach your bow. Make it pretty. There we go. Oops, stuck to my finger. Put your bow up there. And then we'll snip off the tails. No. Good. Yeah, that's good. Alright, so we'll take our little sentiment and we'll put it at the bottom. You could actually put this up on dimensionals because your bow is sticking up a little bit. Let me see if I can find some little ones in here. I'm sure I have some. There we go. My little bag next to my computer. So these are little mini dimensionals. Just pop it up a little bit. I'll put one in the middle so it doesn't sag. Take off the backing. And you could put it on an angle or you could put it straight. I'm going to put it on an angle. Like that. So that's different ways you can make it too, huh? There was my first one. And my second one. Second one is the tent fold, like I said. Finish your thing in the purple. And then you could just go over it. Parts that you didn't, just with the Wink of Stella, and just give it that little bit of glitter. But color these in the purple. I didn't want to take all day coloring, so there we go. There's your card for today. I hope you enjoyed my video. Please subscribe. There's a button you can click on to subscribe, and it will notify you when I upload new videos. And I appreciate you watching. All the measurements and supply list will be on my blog and on my website, which is astampingnana.com. And I will have it listed below. If you'd like to join my team and become an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator yourself, there's a link in my website that you can click on for more information. And there's also a contact me button. If you have any questions whatsoever, you could contact me through there. Thank you very much for watching, and you have a wonderful day. Bye-bye.